Prepare for a story where even a bone can sing the truth. This is The Singing Bone, a timeless tale of kindness, courage, and a secret that won't stay buried.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, sorrow hung heavy in the air. A fierce wild boar roamed the forest, causing great distress to everyone. This giant beast, as tall as a small horse, destroyed crops, scared the cattle, and made people afraid to leave their homes. The good king, an average-height man with a kind face and long gray beard, wearing a royal blue robe, made a grand announcement. Whoever could free the land from this terror would receive a large reward. But the boar was so huge and strong that no one dared to even go near its forest home. At last, the king, looking very concerned, declared an even greater prize, his only daughter's hand in marriage to the hero. In that very country lived two brothers, sons of a poor man, who decided to try this dangerous quest. Crafty Carl, the elder brother, was shrewd and clever, and his heart was full of pride. Kind-hearted Kyle, the younger brother, was innocent and simple, driven by his good and gentle heart. The king, a wise man with a long gray beard, called them both to him. To give yourself the best chance, he advised, you must enter the forest from different sides. With that, Crafty Carl entered from the west, and kind-hearted Kyle from the east. Kind-hearted Kyle had walked only a short distance, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. The trees around him were tall and ancient, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Suddenly, a tiny little man no taller than kind-hearted Kyle's knees stepped out from behind a large oak tree. This little man, with a long white beard and glittering blue eyes, wore a moss-green cloak that blended perfectly with the forest. In his hand, he held a shimmering black spear, which looked quite tall in comparison to him. He smiled warmly at kind-hearted Kyle, his eyes twinkling kindly. The little man spoke in a gentle voice. Kind-hearted Kyle bravely held the shimmering black spear, as tall as he was, pointing it directly at the charging beast. The gigantic wild boar, with its dark bristly fur and enormous white tusks, was lost in its blind fury. With a powerful rumble, it ran so swiftly and forcefully into the spear that its heart was pierced through. The mighty beast fell, defeated, onto the forest floor. Kind-hearted Kyle, feeling a mix of relief and awe, carefully lifted the enormous monster onto his back. It was heavy, but his kind heart gave him strength, and he began the long journey home to the king, with the boar draped over him, appearing much larger than him. As kind-hearted Kyle emerged from the dense woods, he saw a cozy house nestled at the forest's edge. Loud and joyful sounds of laughter and music spilled from its windows. This was where his elder brother, Crafty Carl, had decided to stop, thinking the boar wouldn't run away. Crafty Carl, tall and strong, was inside, planning to drink until he felt brave enough to hunt. But when Crafty Carl peeked out and saw kind-hearted Kyle, a slightly leaner young man with messy blonde hair, coming out of the forest, laden with the enormous wild boar that was much larger than him, his heart twisted with envy. Kind-hearted Kyle looked tired but proud as he carried the heavy burden. Crafty Carl quickly put on a friendly smile and called out. Kind-hearted Kyle, sweet and unsuspecting, saw no evil in his brother's invitation. He joined Crafty Carl inside the lively house, filled with happy villagers who were all similar in height to Crafty Carl. There, he eagerly shared his exciting tale about the kind little man and the shimmering black spear that helped him defeat the mighty boar. Crafty Carl, a tall and strong man with dark hair, listened intently, his sharp features hiding a wicked plan. He kept kind-hearted Kyle, the slightly leaner young man with messy blonde hair, occupied with stories and drink until the evening shadows grew long. As darkness fell, they left together, pretending to be close brothers, under the cloak of the dark. Misty night, the two brothers walked side by side through the whispering woods. Soon, they reached a wooden bridge, arching over a small, gurgling brook. Crafty Carl insisted that kind-hearted Kyle, his slightly leaner younger brother with messy blonde hair, should go first. As kind-hearted Kyle, wearing his simple brown tunic, reached the middle of the bridge, crafty Carl, the tall, strong man with dark brown hair, seized his chance. With a sudden burst of evil, he delivered a cruel blow from behind. Poor, kind-hearted Kyle fell down instantly, lifeless upon the old wooden planks. Crafty Carl, his face a mask of false triumph, buried his kind brother beneath the bridge. Then he took the enormous wild boar, which was much larger than him, and carried it back to the king. He presented it as his own heroic victory. The king, an average-height man with a kind face and long gray beard, was overjoyed and deeply impressed by crafty Carl's supposed bravery. True to his word, the king promised his daughter's hand to crafty Carl. When kind-hearted Kyle never returned, crafty Carl cunningly suggested, "The fierce boar must have killed him." Everyone, sad for the absent younger brother, believed his lie, and the wedding preparations began. But some secrets are meant to be revealed, no matter how carefully hidden. Years passed, and the wicked deed remained unknown, yet truth always finds a way. One sunny afternoon, a humble shepherd, a man of medium height, with a weathered face and rough woolen tunic, was guiding his flock of small white sheep across the very same wooden bridge. His sheep, much smaller than him, trotted gently. As his eyes wandered, he noticed something unusual lying in the sparkling sand beneath the bridge. It was a tiny snow-white little bone, glowing faintly, much smaller than his hand. He thought to himself, curiosity piqued. The shepherd carefully clambered down to the bubbling brook. He gently picked up the glowing snow-white bone, much smaller than his hand, admiring its beauty. He thought it would make a perfect mouthpiece for his horn, a simple wooden instrument he carried. Using his trusty knife, he carefully carved the bone, much smaller than his thumb, and fitted it onto his horn. Raising the horn to his lips, the shepherd, a man with a weathered face, took a deep breath and blew. To his utter amazement, the bone, no longer just a piece of nature, began to sing its own clear, sad song. It was a sound he had never heard before, a mournful melody that filled the air. "What a truly wonderful horn!" exclaimed the shepherd, his voice filled with awe. "It sings all by itself. I must take this to my lord, the king." With great excitement, the shepherd, a man of medium height with a weathered face, hurried to the royal castle. He presented his magical horn, which was smaller than his head with its tiny bone mouthpiece, to the king, an average-height man with a long gray beard. As the shepherd held it, the horn once again began to sing its haunting, sweet melody. This time, the song revealed a forgotten tragedy, and the king, his kind eyes widening with understanding, listened carefully to every word the bone sang. The king, an average-height man with a kind face and long gray beard, understood every word of the bone's sorrowful song. His eyes filled with dawning horror and then grim determination. Immediately, he ordered his royal guards to dig up the ground beneath the old wooden bridge. As their shovels turned the earth, the gruesome truth slowly came to light. There, in the soil, was the complete skeleton of the murdered young man. The wicked, crafty Carl, a tall, strong man with dark brown hair, could no longer deny his terrible deed. The evidence was right before everyone's eyes, and he stood exposed for all to see. His cruel secret was out. The wicked, crafty Carl was punished for his terrible crime, sewn into a sack and drowned, meeting a harsh fate for his heartless actions. But the true hero, kind-hearted Kyle, was honored, as he always should have been. His snow-white bones, which had cried out for justice, were gently laid to rest in a beautiful new tomb. This grand tomb stood proudly in the peaceful churchyard, a symbol of dignity and remembrance. The king, an average-height man with a kind face and long gray beard, made sure that kind-hearted Kyle's story would be told, reminding everyone that while evil may hide for a time, truth always finds a way to shine. Honesty and kindness, even when forgotten, will always be remembered and celebrated in the end.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.